And we are back with yet another episode of the Download Illuvium news. So much actually ended up happening this week. We got a brand new patch, and the Virtuals partnership with Illuvium has gone live. The announcement has gone live. I knew about this for a little bit. TSG probably knew about it for a bit longer than me. But the idea, the big thing I'm seeing is that there's so much positive sentiment from a lot of it is from the internal community, from, let's say, inside the Illuvium bubble, but there's actually so much from all of the virtuals community and all of them, as well as the general crypto gaming communities. It's clear that they believe that crypto gaming and AI is the future. And I think that's something, it's rare that the Web3 and Web2 gamers agree on things. But I think it's clear that they both agree that they actually really want AI in gaming. They don't want AI slop artwork, let's say. They definitely don't want that. But they do want AI-driven NPCs. Everything they've seen so far is steering that direction, and they're really liking it. Not in the same way they don't like crypto. So this is a really great step forward for Illuvium. And if crypto gaming can corner the AI niche, it's going to go a long way for its success and potential mass adoption as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to corner the niche. I think there's just too much with AI to make it just a gaming thing with LLMs and everything like that. Like we see that the race between OpenAI, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, like that there's so it's going to be hard.
No,
But
I mean, I meant the AI gaming niche.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely going to happen, right? I think they're already doing that. Like I actually sent you a video. I don't think you've watched it. I've asked you not to watch it. We'll react to
No,
it
I
later.
haven't.
But
I haven't yet.
yeah, it looks like Web2 is making that jump there as well. So we can react to it and talk about it and what that means for gaming and what that means for Illuvium as well.
I'm looking forward to it. Keeping me in suspense. I think I know a little bit kind of what it's about, because I think Kieran mentioned it on the I haven't seen the whole interview yet, but he mentioned on the Paul Barron.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually watched the video yet. So
Mm.
he didn't seem that hyped by it. Is it good?
Who
The
is
Kieran didn't seem that hyped by it. Is it a good
by
video?
by the video? I would say he was hyped by it. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing here.
I would assume we are, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess he wasn't really talking about what he thought about the video. He was just kind of talking like about it, like the third person almost.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. How's it going, Crypto Quick Chat? How's it going, Kevin? Did your fourth news interview yesterday at the Citrus Connection bus terminal. I don't even know
Congratulations.
what that means, but oh, good. All right. So let's jump straight into it. What have we got up first? We have the announcement, the official announcement from Kieran regarding the Virtuals partnership. And let's read into this a little bit. He says, what does this mean for Illuvium? The collaboration places Illuvium at the forefront of AI innovation in gaming, leveraging the modular framework of Virtuals, which they're calling GAME, G-A-M-E, to create autonomous decision-making characters that can enhance gameplay interactions and beyond. The potential to integrate AI-driven strategies and personalized player experiences is now within reach. It provides a powerful tool set that enables seamless integration of AI agents into games. Okay, so really at first it seems like it's going to be mostly like the NPCs that we currently see walking around Sanctum Mesa. Those NPCs will have AI-driven agents inside them, and I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe they can come up with quests on the fly, or they have a lot of unique dialogue options where it's kind of like you're talking to an LLM. But maybe it goes even further than that. The things they wear, or the sorts of ways they interact with you, or maybe they ask you to battle or something like that. That could be really interesting. So yeah, looking forward to it. I'm just going to download this.
That's a little bit loud, by the way.
Yeah. It's going to download. It's going to take like 20 seconds. My Wi-Fi is so slow, man. It's so slow.
No, what's exciting about this is the possibilities, right? I think it starts off with an NPC dialogue, and that way, yes, the endpoint is always going to be, I would say always going to be, but begins to be the same thing of, okay, this is the quest, but the dialogue to get to that quest could be different, and then maybe as we get better and more things are developed, the quests change. There are a multitude of quests depending on that conversation. Like there are a lot of cool things that you can see with this, and that's just the NPC dialogue. That's not talking about uh, mechanics and bosses, raid bosses, leviathans, how like combat, like that. There is a lot of stuff that we can see there as well.
Yeah, the combat stuff is the most exciting for me as this sort of stuff comes into games. I think it's going to be kind of cool, like to go into like Cyberpunk 2077, and, like talk to the bartender. It's not going to be just like preset dialogue options. I think that's cool. What I think is really cool is how an opponent might change up its strategy depending on what you're doing, and that really excites me.
There was something. This was done in a very basic way a while ago. And I knew it was pretty groundbreaking when it did actually come out, but it was in a game. I forget the age of it now. It might even be a decade ago. It was called Shadows of Mordor. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, Shadows of Mordor. Yeah, it was in 2014. Yeah, so 10 years ago. And so what they did was they had like a very, very basic AI thing where some of the bosses, after you defeated them, they might not. For example, let's say you don't even defeat it. Let's say there's a boss and you set him on fire, and he escapes. The next time you see him, he's going to be more aware of his surroundings for fire, and he's going to say, "Hey, you burnt me last time. That's not going to happen again." Or he's going to try and burn you for revenge. Like it was a pretty simple AI thing back then, but it was quite cool because it gave these bosses. I could kill the boss, but you could burn the boss, and then our experience with that same character would be different, right? So it was done in a very basic way back in the day, and that was really quite cool. So yeah, man, it's pretty exciting. It's very exciting to see where this could go, especially now we are so much better with where AI is 10 years later. I think it's going to be, like you say, it won't just be the same scripted dialogue. It's like you say, it's an LLM that's coming out, and you see it already with Twitter with the AI agents. Some of them are shit talking their own creators, which is quite humorous. But you can see that personality starting to come through.
Yeah, well, they know they're figuring out Twitter and what gets the most engagement, and they know that that's the sort of thing that's going to do really well on Twitter. And I think that's pretty much all they're doing. But no, it excites me. Like, say you're fighting a boss, and it sees that you're dodge rolling really, really often. Like because there are many types of player archetypes. There's like a mage that'll stand at the back and hit them with projectiles.
Can I interject?
Use a shield. Yeah.
Let me interject. Like with the stuff that you're talking about now, I feel like this is the perfect time to play that video that I sent you. So if you want to open it up and then go into this thought process, I think it's quite cool.
Sure. All right. Let's do that.
Welcome to Mir 5, the Mir series game introducing Asterion, the world's first AI boss monster built with NVIDIA ACE. A script-based boss monster follows predictable patterns, regardless of who the opponents are. As a result, players can easily anticipate and counter the boss's attacks, making the encounter less exciting and reducing it to a tedious task to acquire items. But Asterion is no ordinary boss. Artificial intelligence enables Asterion to analyze the player's information, identify unique skills of each player, and determine who to attack first. Asterion recalls past battles similar to the current situation. It then determines the most probable course of action to achieve victory. Asterion adapts, attacking with unpredictable patterns. It cannot be defeated twice with the same strategy. Welcome to Mir 5. Are you ready to face Asterion?
So obviously that was just a promo thing. How it actually functions in the game, it could be completely different. But like that would be the end goal, right? Like what you're talking about, where it kind of picks out, okay, that's the support unit. Let me get rid of the support unit first, so the rest of the team is down. It's that kind of intelligent kind of gameplay. that we could see if we get to that point, which would be really, really fun.
In theory, though, if it could really learn from past battles and analyze opponents and just like even on the fly, like they put a shield up and it stops whatever it's doing and does a different attack, it knows it's going to be more effective. At what point is the difficulty level impossible level? At what point can you actually not beat it? Because you can't outpace an AI with your mouse and keyboard, right? You're not fast enough. You're not as fast as the computer. The reason you can beat the computer in video games is because it's got predefined actions. That's going to be quite interesting. Can you tone down the AI? Because I think that's really, I had trouble doing that with my own ChatGPT prompts. You know what I mean? So I don't know how hard that's going to be to do from a coding point of view, or do you just make it so that like it still has a predefined list of moves? It still has move A, B, C, and D.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course. So that's what
definitely going to be beatable. Yeah.
It just won't. It'll have a preset, predetermined moves, but it won't be A, B, A, C, C, D. It'll just be A, B, C, A, B, D, C, F. Like it doesn't like you just come up with a bunch of random things based on the situation. It's not going to just create its own new move, but it'll create its own new patterns, right? And I think that will be cool. And also, I think there should be a way where you can tone down the difficulty and things like that. But I don't know if you've and we've spoken about this actually behind the scenes about Monster Hunter. And how part of the fun of the end game is those insanely difficult bosses that take a long time, that Kieran talks about with WoW. I never played WoW, but the raids where you have to get a whole bunch of people, like those are the core memories that you make with your friends of like, holy crap, can you remember back then when we beat that? Like, damn. I think having something that is, I say impossible to beat, but so difficult to beat for the end game is actually what we want, because we want that's why Elden Ring does so well, right? Like they're not impossible to beat, but you need to play them at a very high level, and that's what keeps people coming back and playing and be like, yo, I want to beat this thing.
I think what would be exciting is if you could hide things from the AI. For example, like maybe it's faced this typical healer archetype many times before, but you've equipped a tool or an ability that it doesn't see very often, or it doesn't really recognize that you have because it can't see all your abilities. I think hiding that sort of information from the AI to make you feel like you're smart, make you feel like you're outsmarting it and things like that. I think that is where I would see the excitement. But if it could see everything, it would be impossible. But if you selectively hide certain elements from it, I think it would make it more exciting.
And there's mechanics, and for sure, and I agree. Like, and it's all a mechanic thing at that point, right? Where you do attack cancels and things like that, where you start the animation of something that you cancel it, and so you're kind of triggering the boss's action because it's going to react to a certain move, and then you cancel it and do something else, and then it starts to learn, okay, he does that. Then you have to change up your pattern like that. Like you're outsmarting it in that way. Like there are things to do. Obviously that's quite complex and quite hard to do, but like I said, at the end game, that's what. But yeah, so the whole point of this conversation is, yes, the whole AI in gaming is very, very exciting. It's very interesting. I do feel like a lot of the games recently just feel stale, like RPGs and stuff. I just don't really like. It just gets boring because maybe it's because I'm an adult now, but when I go in and play, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, it's so difficult, like it's so fun. Now as an adult, like I understand the coding, where I'm like, oh, okay, just figure out the pattern. Like once I figure out the pattern, we use to it, and it becomes less enjoyable.
Gaming as you get older is really like that though. Like I'll like go into a Pokemon game and I'll be like, oh, this is stupid easy. Fire Red was the best Pokemon game. It was the hardest one. You go back and play it and it's like, yeah, I mean, it's harder, but it's just because the EXP share is more limiting, and so you got to spend longer grinding. I mean, it's not actually harder. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. Its
end game was pretty tough, but
yeah.
But yeah, like it's a bit like that. And I do really like because you're right. I don't feel the same about gaming anymore, but I think part of that is that it's a lot harder to get people together. Even us, we try to play games together all the time, and we have trouble lining up time zones and things like that. That's been one of the reasons I never really got into MMOs. They're really only fun if you're playing with like a bunch of other people.
And you've got a dedicated group of friends. Yeah, 100%.
You follow me? Yeah, and Civ's even similar to that, where like you want to play against the AI, but the AI is really stupid, and so you're basically just playing against yourself, and it's really it's kind of boring in that way. But
Mm.
when you make AI as intelligent as a person and you start populating things like an MMO with AIs, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's more people for you to play with. Well, I say people. It's more like to party up with and stuff like that.
Personalities. There's more personalities to engage with.
Yeah, and they're smarter and stuff too. And I think
Mm.
that's the interesting thing is Monster Hunters, I think, upgrading they're not AI agents or anything, but they're upgrading the AI and their companions. So you can play through the game single player without and you'll have like really good allies that won't necessarily defeat the monster for you, but they'll recognize when you're on low health and they'll try and heal you. And they'll recognize if you're like a player that stands at the back and likes ranged weapons, and they'll make sure that they're up front in the monster's face so you don't get smashed to pieces. So I think that's really good. And I think this sort of path forward is going to be exciting.
It's exciting. I think the future for gaming, like I feel like we had a bit of a lull in the last couple of years. I feel like 2025 is a bit of an uptick with the games that are coming out and with the technology that's coming out. It's all pretty exciting.
All right, so let's go into the next one. I actually really like that video. I just wish we saw more of it. Like, sometimes I forget just how good the game is graphically. I know this is just like a trailer, and so it's probably rendered up to the max in itself. But at the same time, like, it looks great. And it's like its own style too. It's not trying to look hyper realistic. It's still somewhat stylized, but in a different way to like Fortnite and stuff. I don't know. I love it. All right, so that's the Virtuals partnership. Let's jump into the next one. There was an Arena Gauntlet balance patch deployed. We've just pushed a new balance patch for Arena. The updates includes a series of adjustments to fine-tune balance and address key gameplay elements. Have you played the balance patch yet?
Nothing you want to know.
It's pretty good. They did something that I hope they did ages and ages ago, is a lot of the tweaks they made to things that were maybe a little bit OP or overtuned, they were really minor. Okay, they took it really, really slow. They're like, okay, water's really strong. We're going to drop it a tiny bit. Like, even at like the 2, 3, and 5 synergy, I don't even think it changed. I think they just dropped the 7 and 9 synergy. They're just like, at the upper end, it's OP. Let's drop it like 10%. And I think those sorts of incremental drops are really, really good, and they help you get to the balance point way faster. Like, you can't rush it. You can't be like, drop them 50%. They're going to increase them 60%, and it just gets crazy.
No,
it did it really fine-tuned, and it was really, really good. I think the game feels great. Rogues are actually pretty strong, but that's more just because it's so easy to get the 9 rogue, if you ask me.
Yeah, the new way of balancing and everything like that is a lot better. Like, obviously, I'm not an expert on that specifically, but I speak to Neil quite a bit. I see what he does behind the scenes and how he calculates these things. It's a lot more data-driven than it was in the past. And so I feel like we've made great strides there on how we tackle balancing and things like that. So I think we're going to see less of extreme changes in these minor balance patches. That they're just going to be, like you say, little tweaks rather than a complete revamp.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of the issues with the game right now are actually centered around augments, if you ask me. If anyone says anything about balance, I think augments are really the core issue, where if you all the really good augments, or where you should generally place the augments, are in your hyper carries. And so anything that can hyper carry is particularly powerful, because if you get good augments and pair it with it, you're good. But at the same time, Axodon has been fucking impressive lately, and that's not so much a hyper carry as like a brick wall, a giant brick wall that you just can't break. I think that's pretty fun too. But there's a lot of stuff like that. I think once things like the carousel and other features come in, it will actually shift that as well and make the dip down the RNG a bit, which will actually make everything more balanced, if you ask me. Or more imbalance. I don't know. Okay. So the next one I've got right here, Johnny has said that he thinks the idea was to release the colors first, as there are a relatively small amount of work in them, then to add the shapes and model changes. So G Hamster said that he didn't exactly love the skin that he got for the Scoriox skin And I think that's recognized. They're going to be working on them in the future, but I'm glad that they're all available. They're all mintable. They're all usable in the game, by sounds like. So that's really exciting. And they are going to get upgrades and look extra nice in the future.
Yeah,
So that's good
because
stuff.
like they're meant to have like VFX and a whole bunch of things.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I didn't bend the Scoriox just look orange. Not funny as hell.
I still want to try it. Okay. So the next thing is from Kieran here, where so 841 said that you could create an Atlas agent with the Atlas token on virtuals, and he thinks Illuvium should go multi-token and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of that myself. But Kieran says that it would be pretty funny if Illuvium were to create an agent on virtuals and give all the profit back to the DAO, RevDiz and all that. But what character would we use? 841 said Atlas, but Kieran recommends maybe Squiz, or an IIP could be written. I think it could be fun. If we could make like a cool Squiz that like talked to you and stuff and said really dumb shit. I don't know.
I would like to see
mind.
one. I would like to see one for each Illuvium, and they all have their own little characteristics, and they're all like shit talking each other, and like it could be like a whole. It could be pretty fun.
That would be pretty funny. I was actually going to make a Scoriox virtual tonight, just for like my own personal meme.
Like the way I'm thinking about it's like a Sesame Street kind of vibe for the Illuvials, where you have Oscar the Grouch, you have the Count, like everyone's got their different character and stuff. I think it'd be quite cool.
Crypto Quick Chat says he's been running into a bug where it doesn't seem like they can be minted. I think they're supposed to be, so we'll have to ask about that at some point. Okay. So the next one we've got here is from Roger, where he says Illuvium's art, because there's been a lot of AI talk lately because of the partnership and things like that. And JWLZ is using Budget Atlas as his PFP. That is so funny. Okay. Roger said Illuvium's art will be by our hands and QA'd by us and released when we are happy with it. From what he understood is that the Virtuals team wanted to showcase what some of their AI stuff could do. There's a disclaimer in the video stating that it is not ours and it is not Illuvium. But yeah, in terms of AI use in virtuals, it won't be for art. It'll be for other things, for bots, NPCs, content generation, and whatnot. But yeah, so like they had a video. I don't know if I have it on the run sheet today. I think I do. Where basically they made like a bunch of AI Illuvials and stuff. Some of them looked okay. The Atlases didn't fare too well. Dorius looked pretty cool. And
Dorius looked pretty solid.
Whatever that wolf thing was, and I kind of like the dragon. It wasn't Ramfire, but I kind of like it as just like a generic dragon. But yeah, so that it was a funny video. Okay, so the other thing is Neil has said here that they are tuning it down next week for Mystic, although that just happened. It's slightly overperforming, far too rewarding given how easy it is to get. For anyone who doesn't know, you just need the Mystic Staff and Greater Apon, and you've got it, and they're both tier 1, and so you can get Mystic right off the bat, similar to how Dust is relatively easy and stuff like, and Predator is relatively easy as well. And the problem was that I was getting like a 20% buff to all stats on a single Illuvial that was like big in HP and attack, and that is quite strong. 3 Mystic, really good too, much harder to get though, but if you get like the Mystic Augment, oh my god, so easy. So that has been tuned down. It's 8% at 2 Mystic now. I don't think it's been too oppressive. Hard to say. He also said the hotfix is next week, but that's kind of irrelevant now. The other thing is Neil said that thylacine is actually overperforming a bit, but it's not the main issue with water. Water as a standalone is very strong. Plus, it has toxic, which was broken, but I think that's been fixed now. And it has the thylacine overperforming slightly, so the Umbro line with Dash Rake.
Mm-hmm.
All things converging on the water synergy made it very strong. I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just thought like the toxic was really it.
They're looking at the data, so they've got the win rates, and they can attribute that to damp. Like they've got a lot of the data. Like I say, it's very much more data driven in terms of our decision making with balancing than it has been prior.
I think the thing with water is it's very top heavy and bottom heavy. It has quite a few tier 1 waters in your Atlas, Caribou, and stuff like that. And it has a lot of back end waters with like with Dualef and things along those lines. And so without too much in the middle, those are that's kind of like a dead zone. You've got your Riptor, but that's a dead zone right there where like you get all your early stuff, and then you level up a bunch, and you get all your late stuff with the really good odds on the pool. So synergies that are balanced that way can get a bit dicey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he said a nervous to water is coming. And next, we've got some community discussion. So for anyone who doesn't know, Quant has put in a thread for the Gauntlet Grinders feedback. I highly recommend anyone who's playing in it, playing in the tournament, jump in there, put all your feedback in. It's really good information. I think people have been really enjoying the Gauntlet Grinders. It looks like tournaments are going to start using this format moving forward, where there's a handful of days where people grind on the leaderboards, and then if they get a lot of first and second places, they can submit and get qualified for the $1,000. Really cool format, keeps people playing the game, learning, improving, gets everyone involved, and it still rewards those that are really good at the game. It's a little bit hard because not everyone has the time to play all those matches, but at the same time, their prerequisites are pretty cool. And so those that are really good at the game should generally get qualified for the top spots, which is really cool to see. And yeah, so the feedback looks like has been mostly positive so far. I haven't actually read through this yet, but everyone thinks it was a good solution to improve the active player base.
100%. Yeah. So positive feedback overwhelmingly. The only negative feedback that I've personally heard has been the finals were best of one, if I'm not mistaken. And I think...
oh, really?
Yeah, and I heard that the feedback for the competitive players was, hey, it loses a bit of its competitive integrity if they grind the entire week and then the finals is a best of one. So I think if they can extend that, even if it's a best of three, or actually like what I commentated in one of Paz's Gauntlet clashes, I actually really like the way he does it, where it's you've got to hit a certain a number of points. So if you rank 1, you get 8 points. If you rank number 2, you get 7 points, so on and so forth. And once you hit 13 points, once you're in a check position, and once you're in a check position, then you can win a game, and then you just complete it. That's a checkmate. So you have to earn a certain amount of points to check, and then checkmate. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I did. I was the first one to do that, and I thought that was I thought that was the standard now. Why did they go to BO1 for the finale?
For I don't know. That's something that you'd have to ask Quants.
That's weird.
I actually might be mistaken by this, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. That was the feedback that I got from a couple of people.
I think. Okay. I'll have to double check that because I thought Quants was doing checkmate as well. But yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I think if it was checkmate, that would be the ideal tournament structure. I think that the qualifiers during the week, and then the checkmate for the finals. I think that would be a fantastic structure.
Because I know he was doing, it was top 32 or whatever, right? So it was one round for round 1 and 2, and then it would be checkmate for the grand finals. But maybe they did one round for all 3, or maybe people had a problem with the first 2 rounds being one round. I'm not sure, but you kind of have to do that. I do like doing 2 rounds for them, but that works better with the top 16, I think, is definitely how I would approach that. Okay. So the next discussion point is actually from Viper, where he re-put up his proposal. Currently 18 upvotes and 12 downvotes. Recommend you go and have a look, read through it. Sounds like he simplified it quite a bit, but basically he's going for that Web 2.5 approach where you can play free to play, have the complete competitive integrity. No one gets an advantage in any way, shape, or form, but those who own assets and alluvials and things like that can earn more than those who do not. It's been quite a controversial discussion. I'm not sure exactly what some of the main things in. The one thing I have seen is that although he never actually stated it in his proposal, I believe people think that he's inferring that Leviathan should be removed and things like that, or taking away kind of some of the premise of Leviathan by giving out too many rewards to... he's kind of insinuating that he wants rank to have a lot of rewards and have it structured this way and things like that. I'm not opposed to it in a general sense. There are definitely things, I have very specific things I would like to see alongside it. But at the same time, I really don't want to remove Leviathan. We need to give Leviathan a shot, especially alongside Lizard League. People keep forgetting about Lizard League. And we need to give that a shot before anything, because if I can capture 100, 200 really good, decent stat alluvials and then pay an entry fee to go into some sick tournament for Leviathan mode, that would be exciting to me, and I would love to do that. And so I think that should stay for sure. Is the team saying anything regarding this proposal, by the way?
Perry is definitely very involved in that conversation.
But like internally, nothing crazy.
Yeah, like I say, Perry and some of the guys. I've kept my opinions out of that one.
So the next one I've got is some content. The Illuvium Town Hall with Kieran Warwick. I've just got through it. I've been setting up a breakdown and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to do it as a video or a tweet or whatever yet. But some really great alpha is actually in there. So if you want to wait for my tweet, great. If you don't, I'm going to chuck the link down below. Go check it out. It was a really good town hall. There was some great information in there, especially in the in some of the middle zones. At the start, it was a little bit slow. In the middle, it was great. Some really, really great stuff.
There's going to be a summary out as well from the Illuvium side. So I was speaking to Dick about it. It's already, the summary is written. We're just deciding if it's something that we want to put out as an announcement, or maybe create a new thread where it's a summary of all live events or something like that. Do people want to get pinged for the announcements, like for something like this? Something that we're talking about, but it is written up. So anyone that is waiting, whose English isn't the greatest, or they want a summary written up, that is done. It will come out in the next, I'd say, 24 hours.
I still think we need a minor announcements channel. That's something we're really missing.
That's exactly what we were talking about. Yeah,
we really need one of them.
Make it happen, Mr. Council Person.
It's becoming more obvious than ever. I've mentioned it before. I don't know why it's never happened. I don't think they want another thing to manage. But
for something like this, it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to put it in the main announcements, and we need the minor announcements for things like updates on like the game. Like if there's a bug, they can post like a.
I would say balance patches, things like that. Just anything.
Oh yeah,
minor related, just minor announcements.
For sure. There's a lot of options. All right. So the next thing is regarding the Illuvials the Virtuals partnership. Artemis put out a really great thread. Basically, she just broke down all of the information found in the article and things like that, what it might mean for Illuvium and stuff like that. So definitely go show it some support. It was a really great post up there. Okay, the next one I've got for you is from Illuvium, the Virtuals partnership. We just watched that video. We also have a bunch of other information here as well. Definitely go check that out. And lastly, from Virtuals themselves, we have their video. Sorry. So cute.
I don't think it's that bad. I'm not going to lie.
Like, I mean, the problem is the comparison bias.
Yeah.
You forget Atlas existed. You would look at this and think it was a pretty cool creature, right?
It's not that bad, yeah.
But just because it like looks way worse than Atlas, it's like you're comparing the two and now it just looks crap.
Still way too loud, G.
I'm going to get demonetized for that fucking music anyways. The mushrooms. I can't believe they used the same song though.
Yeah, look, Adorius looks alright.
It looks good.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that bit. That's pretty cool. I don't remember that bit either. Have I even seen this? Oh, yeah. So good. AI Kieran's the best.
Yo, I forgot who it was that said this in the Discord. I thought it was so funny. They were saying how Aaron always said that Rampire wasn't a dragon, it was a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And they just completely made it a dragon here. It was, yeah.
Every single time, I hope Kieran knows that every single time I have an AMA with him now, this is going to be the thumbnail.
That's so fun.
Every new AMA is this thumbnail right here. It's the Kieran. It's the Kieran every time.
That's so good.
AI Kieran, which is the best Kieran. Okay. You should tell him that. He laughs so hard. He'll never give me another AMA again. All right, so that's all I had for today. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this one up?
No, nothing on my side, man. Just working hard right now. I think the next. Oh, nah. There's there was one thing that Kieran alluded to in the AMA. I do recommend everyone listen to the town hall. There was something that Kieran alluded to that I wanted to speak a little bit more about, but
Do
I'll
it.
hold off.
Do it. You can't hold me now. Can't do this now.
No, about the relaunch. Like he made a bit of a comment about that. So yeah, I mean it's pretty. Yeah, just working hard and making sure that the next couple of months go well. I'm pretty on my side. I'm very positive on my side on everything that we're doing. It's looking pretty good, man. Like that. That's all I really have to say. I'm just gonna keep my head down and keep grinding it out. But the next couple of months is going to be quite a fun time, I would say.
Yeah, like Illuvium Gauntlet's turning into a really fun game. Obviously, I barely do, but a lot of people are crashing and things like that. And I'm excited for that to get sorted. I'm excited for the carousel and spectator mode. And really, it won't be too long before we have a lot of that stuff. Let's say 30 days, 40 days. We might even have carousel embedded in the game. You could see from the Going Hyper podcast some of the concept art for the carousel and stuff. So it's being built out as we speak. There's so much that's going to go into the game. And he talked about one of the big alphas was regions in Gauntlet, which is really cool. So for anyone who doesn't know, in TFT, there's these drone augments, which are kind of like game-wide effects that happen at the start of the game. So maybe all fighters, let's say for the example of Illuvium, maybe all water Illuvials get a 10% health boost. I don't know. But anyways, apparently
think about it as a field card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or something like that if you played that.
But he made it sound like everyone at the start of the game would get to vote on this. So say there's 3 region options. There's Crimson Waste, Abyssal Basin, and Brightland Steppes. Everyone votes on which place they want to battle in, and it has different bonuses for different Illuvials, maybe some other randomness. I think that sounds really exciting. It starts to make the game feel even more replayable than it already is. And so I can't wait for that sort of stuff to come in for sure.
Yeah. And I want to set expectations right. Carousel probably won't come in the next 30, 40 days, maybe slightly longer than that. But yeah, I'm looking at the internal timeline for everything. And yeah, the next couple of months, there's just a couple of features. Like we don't necessarily need spectator mode and scouting for leaderboard rewards to start back up again. So that would be a nice to have at that point. But yeah, I think a couple of months in and just look, yeah, things are looking interesting.
I disagree. Spectator mode maybe, but I think scouting's pretty important, to be honest. I think we need that before.
Is it a must-have?
It's a core feature. So. It's a core part of the strategy. It's like playing chess with like a blindfold on. It's really weird. It's a very big part of being able to perform well in the game, and besides maybe having a notebook and taking notes of everyone's comp as you play them. It's really, really weird. I think we need scouting. It also improves the integrity of competition as well. Where in competition, everyone's going to see each other's screens, but that doesn't actually matter at all if scouting's an option in the game. And so it actually improves that as well. I think it's quite important. Unfortunately, I know it's going to take the longest because of the multiplayer servers and stuff, but unfortunately, it's the situation that we're in. It's pretty critical feature.
Yeah, cool. Like I personally would say that it is definitely a critical feature. I don't think it's a feature that is going to be the blocker for leaderboard rewards. But that's just my opinion. If everyone disagrees and says, "Hey, hold up on the leaderboard rewards until we get scouting in," cool, no problem.
I think the blocker is definitely game stability, and the other one is
it's game stability. I played a game. I played a game yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. It might have been 2 days ago. I played a game a couple of days ago, or something like that, and it was the first game that I played, and it crashed. And I was like, "Look, it's fine for us. We'll reconnect." But like me and you are looking to get into Civilization. We're looking to get into Monster Hunter. If that game crashes once, maybe acceptable. If it crashes twice, I'm going to get pissed off. So, like, there's no reason for a game to crash in 2025. Like, it's just not a thing. So the fact that we're crashing as much as we are, I was speaking to someone about their experience, and I told them, hey, like, they were grinding for Gauntlet Grinders, and I said, hey, just keep a note of how many times you crash, how often you crash, and they're saying 1 in 5 games. And I was like, look, it's much better than what it was, but it's still unacceptable. 1 in 5 is it's just unacceptable. I'm saying once a year is acceptable. You're telling me 1 in 5 matches? That's just not
even one in 100 wouldn't be awful.
It's just not acceptable. I mean, look, like, the way we're making shortcuts and being like, oh yeah, but it's okay. Like, it's not. We're trying to develop a proper game. Like, you shouldn't be crashing nonstop. Once a year, fine. Like, that's it. I think that's the only acceptable outcome. That it can't be more than that. So, yeah. Once I think that's the major blocker for leaderboard rewards. Once that's solved, I mean, it's Gucci. Like, all the extra things are just bonus, nice to haves.
Yeah, the only other one I would have said is augment RNG. I know they're working on some sort of I think they call it a forge system. I'd like that to be in as well. I think that's important. But yeah, anyways, we will wrap it up there. Have a good one, guys. Hope you enjoy the show. Hope you learned something new about Illuvium and the news that has been coming up in this week. Yeah, I think next week's going to be a good week. I have a good feeling about next week. All right, have a good one, guys. And with that, the download is complete.